A cure for fear and anxiety. That's what I'm going to talk about and show you today. I'm going to tell you my 4 methods to deal with it, which is desensitization and habituation, counter conditioning, treats from the scary stimulus, and the final thing is the pull-in method. We're going to go through them in order as they need to be done. We're going to talk about timelines for each of them and percentages yielded in results. If the timeline is too far or the percentage yielded with each session is not moving quick enough, you need to then move on to the next method and go down the line until you get to the bottom method if the other 3 are not working in the time we need them to work, or the energy that we put out to set up the scenarios is too much. We need to go through that. It's a very methodical process that I'm going to explain to you, but it is the process, and it's going to end with the pull-in method. If you want to get death threats from force feed trainers and from people from Germany and France, do this method and show it on social media, as I'm going to do to you, show you today. I'm going to show you that final method and explain the other methods. And I got this question from a Beckman coaching program student who wanted to know my thoughts on a Cesar Millan video that he was doing a similar method to what I'm going to explain to you. If you are interested in this method and every single one of my other methods, apply to be in the Beckman coaching program. Email beckmanventures@gmail.com. Tell me your experience. Tell me why you want to be a part of the program, and I will get back to you. It is an unbelievable program where we talk about social media, helper dog, every single one of my methods in depth, and it is going right now as we speak. All right. The first method is desensitization and habituation. If you want your dog, let's take fear of people as an example. If you want your dog to not be scared of people, you have to get them around people. That's not rocket science. Now, how far are the people away? How much are they moving? How big are those people? That is going to vary. But you do have to sort of find the threshold and be over here and just get them around people. You cannot avoid people. That is habituation, or what I call desense or desensitization. It just needs to happen. But now you need to start with this method, and then you need to look at the timeline, and you need to look at your energy put in. Okay. So, okay, Joel, I went to Starbucks and I got my dog watching people passing by. And I went to Starbucks twice this week and I did that. And I say, how much better is your dog? And I tell my clients, I say, give me a percentage. And they say, maybe 2% better after that week. Okay, let's look at the timeline. Now, age of the dog matters. As the dog gets older, things are going to be more difficult to, the organisms are tougher to change as they get older, because neurons and receptors in the brain, they're kind of a insulation goes around them. As the dog gets older, insulation goes around these things. Also, as the dog rehearses, the behavior pathways are formed, and then they're insulated. So they're tougher to change at that point. So that happens with age. It also happens with rehearsal of the behavior. So we cannot have the dog rehearsing backing up, rehearsing growling a bunch. Okay, but let's look at the timeline part. Okay, 2% better, 1 week of work, twice visiting Starbucks, 2%. Okay, we're at a year, and this is 80% better. Okay, something like that. Now, what you have to take into account is maybe you go to Starbucks 10 times. In 2 of those times, somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, what a nice dog," and the dog backs up, and we got the dog 10% better. We just jumped back 8% from that one mistake. It wasn't a mistake. That's life. Okay. Oh my gosh. We just went back 8% from that one thing. And I guarantee it's going to happen. Now we're only 2%. We put in all this work. The percentages are not high enough in that situation for me. If the client says, I went to Starbucks twice, my dog's 10% better, great. Now 10% is a lot. We can absorb a jump back because we're getting higher yields, okay, in improvement. But that's just one part of it. Many dogs won't be 2% better, no percent better. We got to move on. We're going to move on. Counter conditioning, essentially classical conditioning, right? Pairing up of stimulus. I have the definition right here. Counter conditioning, a behavior modification technique in which a stimulus that creates a negative emotional response is paired with something known to create a positive emotional response in the animal. It's Pavlov stuff. It's classical conditioning stuff. It's not rocket science, but here's where everyone gets it wrong. Here's where the trainers get it wrong, and what they're telling you is wrong. Dog, person, treats, stimulus. The dog's getting the treats from its owner. Yes, it's looking at the stimulus, getting the treats. There is a disconnect there that is bigger than most people think. It does not do what the next thing will do. It simply doesn't. Trainers, for some reason, think it does. I don't know if they're being honest with themselves, honest with their clients, but they will go down this road for way too long and take your money for way too long. When there is another approach that will yield 10x or 100x the improvement that method will yield. It's not the same. Treats from owner, even if they're looking at the person, the scary stimulus, treats are being shoved in their mouth, giant treats, jackpotting treats. Something doesn't compute in their brain comparatively to the method I'm going to say right now, which is treats from the scary stimulus, as I call it. It is widely underused. I do not know why. It is so much better. You have to set it up though. You have to have people walk by. You have to give them treats. They have to give your dog treats. They have to first toss them to your dog, and your dog goes, oh, and they eat the treat, and they go, that came from that guy. Men are slowly not becoming scary thing. Men are slowly becoming chicken thing. Chicken guy. I like chicken guy. He's not chicken guy when mom's feeding him treats. That's not chicken guy. That's still scary guy. Chicken guy, he might bust out treats. You can even set it up where you meet a friend that the dog doesn't know. Dog's in the car, walk around the corner, give them giant chunks of chicken. Don't give them the little Zooks treats, little hard, nasty treats, or kibble. No. Jackpots. Half-inch chicken chunks. You meet them around the corner. You sit in a Starbucks or wherever. Your house. Do this at their house. Same thing. Guy walks by, doesn't even look at the dog, right? That's scary to the dog. Doesn't even look at the dog, toss a treat. Your dog's going to start going, does that guy have chicken? Does that guy have chicken? It's going to start to approach people going, hey, buddy, you got chicken? That's the opposite of the response before that, which is scary guy. Oh, he looked at me. Growl, lunge, back away. No. Then you start to add guy looking, chicken. Then you start to throw the chicken, the person starts to give the chicken closer to them. I'll sit on the ground, I'll put chicken on my knee. Dog creeps up and takes the chicken and goes back. Wonderful. And then I go right here. Dog creeps up, it's looking at me in the eyes, takes a chicken. Chicken came from me. First time a dog has ever, I've done hundreds of first time a dog has ever touched a human being, a random human being, by putting it right on my knee. The dog touched my knee. That's a first. That's a big deal. And the dog is not forced to do it. Oh, Joe, you're flooding the dog. I've heard that, which is insane. The dog's making its own choice. We're not gonna force the dog anymore. So what is this going to yield? 10% improvement in one session, 20, 30, 5. Okay, it's pretty good. Sometimes it's in the 1% range. The dog is so scared. The dog has no food motivation. We're not willing to drop the dog's base diet to a point where it's hungry, or it just will never be hungry because it's so scared of people. Okay. The timeline is not right. Whether we've tried the desensitization method, maybe we've tried the counter conditioning method, then the other form of counter conditioning would be treats from the scary stimulus. Okay, we're still in the timeline doesn't work. It's going to take too long. The client has 3 kids and a job. They can't do this. They rescued a dog like society told them to rescue a dog, and the dog's terrified. What do I do, Joel? Okay, now you're going to go to the last method, and that is the pull-in method. And I'm going to show you a video of it right now. This is a video that I posted, and here it is. Terrified dog. Dog did the board and train. Dog is significantly better after the board and train, but this is the first method. And I'm not looking at the dog, and I'm pulling the dog in. And the dog's gonna freak out. But we tried every other method. The owners told me he will not go near their dad. He growls, he barks, he runs away. So the pull-in method is a method when the dog will simply never choose to be close to the stimulus or the scary stimulus. We have to sometimes force them to be close so they learn they're not going to die. That's it. Dog goes, if I go near that person, I will die. Oh, they'll never choose to do it. Treats, food, desensitization, they'll never do it on their own. So they need to be forced to do it. And then they literally get next to the thing and they go, I didn't die. Who the hell knew? Dog's like, I didn't know, but now I know. There's risk. What if I felt like this would work, I was 95% sure this would help this dog significantly. I was 5%, I had a 5% chance that this would have the dog would take a step back in the training process. Step backs are terrible. You cannot take a step back when you're dealing with difficult things. Will we do it for 95% chance of helping the dog when nothing else will help? Generally, yes. Will the owners do it? Generally, yes. Okay. Will we do it? What if it's 90-10? A little less worth the risk. What about 80-20? No. But when your percentages are high in that it's going to help, then risks have to be taken because the other ways are not going to work and the timeline is not going to work. Where do we go when the timeline doesn't work? For every approved method out there, what do? You have to do things that are out of the box, that are looked at as wrong, that society or some people think will make the dog worse, but it will not if done right. I'm not even looking at the dog. So that's the video on fear and anxiety. You have your 4 methods that you are going to go through. You're then going to work with each method and you're going to assign a percentage of improvement. Okay. You're going to take the difficulty of doing it. Might be difficult to go to Starbucks. It's going to be more difficult to talk to random people to toss you treats. It's going to be more difficult to set up the situation where somebody is hiding treats, then they throw treats. You're going to have a difficulty level to you. Then you're going to have once you do the method, you're going to assign a percentage. My dog got 10% better. Awesome. 10% is fine. We don't need to move on to the next method until we've exhausted that one method. So desensitization worked 10%. Great. Don't worry about treats from the scary stimulus. We're cooking with fire. We're on our way. Okay. But that yielded 1% improvement. That's not good enough. Okay. Then you think about counter conditioning treats from you because maybe it's easier, right? It's easier than giving random people treats to toss to your dog, or it's easier than going to and paying a trainer to do that. So you got to spend time finding the trainer. The trainer's got to understand the concept, all that stuff. So now, and then the dog looks to touch me. He might have done it already, but he actually comes up and sort of nudges me a little bit. Probably the first time the dog has ever met, I think it happens right here, or it might have happened already. Ever really, and he's going, oh, I didn't die. Guy didn't hurt me. Guy didn't hit me. I actually thought that guy was going to hurt me or hit me or kill me, but he's not doing it. And that is rehearsal of goodness. Pathways in the brain are formed with this dog at this moment. New pathways are being formed that would have been very difficult to form without this method. Okay. So you're going to look at percentages. Then you're going to move to the next method. Oh, this isn't yielding results. I need to go to treats from the scary stimulus. This is going to take a little more work. I did one method. Dog's 10% better. He actually started to look at people passing instead of looking away. Or when that guy looked at him, the lip didn't lift at all when it would usually just lift a little. After some random dude tossed my dog treats, next guy that came up and looked at my dog, lip didn't lift. Dog didn't look away. Dog didn't lunge. We're doing that. Big results. That's great. Let's go down this road. Okay. Oh, treats from giant chunks of chicken from random people has still not yielded the results. Okay, you might be in the pull to you method because your methods are exhausted. The timeline does not work. It's not going to work. There's only so many things that I did not describe in this video. Desensitization, habituation, counter conditioning, treats from the scary stimulus, There's only so many ways for an animal to learn and change. There's also some elements of operant conditioning in there with the treats. There's positive reinforcement in there, but the more powerful thing is the classical conditioning, not the operant conditioning. So we got to do something risky and we got to pull the dog into us, but it's got to be done right. Okay? Hopefully this has helped you. If you're interested in learning more about these simple but yet misunderstood complex methods, email, and you want to become a dog trainer, no time is better than the present to leave your job that you don't like and work for yourself and become a high-level dog trainer that makes changes in the world and fixes dogs and helps people. Then right now, email beckmanventures@gmail.com. Tell me why you want to be a part of the program.